Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today we're starting a new series, the R&B series, where I'm going to teach you guys how to make R&B beats from scratch. So firstly, we're going to start with the drum break. This one's from Beat Butcher. It's really good, called BREA2. And we're at 140 BPM. So the first thing we need to do is stretch this. Let's double click, go to mode, stretch mode. Grab your time knob and lock it to the nearest bar. In this case, it's 2 bars. Turn on your metronome to double check. Now what I'm going to do to switch it up over time is grab the slice tool, change my snap to grid to like a beat or a half beat. And I want to change out little parts of the audio. So I'll slice out the second half here. And then I'll slice out the snare. Usually I change out the snare spot. We're going to grab the slip tool and then we can left click the audio to move that around. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate this so that we can make changes over time. So we don't have to keep copying and pasting. Let's go to slip tool and let's just switch this up. So just grab any part of the audio as long as you keep it on the same snap to grid. And on the second half, let's swap out that snare. And those little change ups keep the ear engaged over time. So let's copy that over one more time. And now we can go in with the slip tool without like changing the audio at all. We're just moving it around. So now we could create a new phrase. Okay, so now we have this unique change up in the drums. You guys get all the project files for free if you go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. Now let's add some music. What I'll show you guys is a plugin first, but then we're going to record with a real keyboard here. All right, so just to give you guys context, I'll show you guys the chord theory, but then we're going to get into like recording by hand because you can add a lot of nuance. The key here is to use 7th chords, so I'll just show you guys what a 7th chord is first. If you're new here, I teach chord codes at busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials. You have to learn chord codes because there's different chords and chords have DNA. So I teach chord codes. I've been teaching chord codes at busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials. So here, wherever you start, this is considered the root note. We call it 0 in this case. So starting here, we can count up to create any chord we want. So the minor chord is 0, 3, 7. So it's 0, your starting point, and just count up 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're counting up note by note, and that will always create the minor chord no matter what. So that's our minor chord. And let's say we want to make a 7th chord. A 7th chord is an extension. Chords are usually defined as 3 notes or more. I can tell you guys it's actually 2 notes in the old definition, but we'll just say 3 notes or more. So once you get into 4-note chords, chances are you're playing a minor 7th chord or a major 7th chord. There's different types of 7th chords. And I'll show you guys how to extend this minor chord into a 7th. So it's 0, 3, 7. So I give you a chord code chart for free that has all these numbers. So 0, 3, 7, 10 is the minor 7th chord code. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, this always creates the minor 7th chord. So for R&B, to make it more R&B-ified, is we're going to take this bottom note and we're going to pull it down an octave so that it's separated. This is called chord voicing. Okay, so it sounds thicker, and then we're going to hit it with 2 octaves. So we're really playing a minor 7th chord, but just the root note is pulled down an octave or 2. And that's what creates this nice full sound for R&B. If I go lower, it would sound like this. See how it has that bass in there, so it feels full, but it's not cluttered. All right, so I'll play stuff by hand because it's a lot easier to do stuff. But that is really the concept behind it, is we're just playing 7th chords. Now for this beat, I'll give you guys the MIDI, but I'll also give you the audio that I record. So let's copy that progression. So again, we're teaching a lot of people who are new to music theory, so I can't make super complex dominant 9th chords right now. We're gonna use the basics here. Okay, so let's drag that out. Now the easy way to do this is to listen to the top note. So we're gonna hit shift, left click, drag this so it has the same top note, and then I'll show you guys the technique to kind of troubleshoot if it sounds wrong, so to speak. Okay, so all we're doing right now is just getting that timing right. If you struggle with this, turn your metronome on. Now we need, so I'm going to take this chord, just copy it, hit shift, left click, drag it over. Now this chord, I will tell you, is not the right chord, but I'll show you how to convert this chord into the right chord. Even that sounded kind of fire. Actually, I kind of want to keep that. That was interestingly fire sounding. So let's keep this. Let me figure out the timing for it. So that's actually kind of fire. But that just shows major, minor. It doesn't always have to be either or. Sometimes you could use what's called borrowed chords to create a unique sound. Now I'm going to slice right here. Let's hit shift with the slice tool, left click. To convert this to the, the major seventh, we're going to take what's called the fifth and the tonic, aka just the bottom notes, skip a note, go to the next note, hit shift down. This will convert it back to the chord it should be. That sounds fire. So that was a happy accident. Not even an accident, but just to show you guys, it doesn't have to be always the chord associated to the scale degree. One thing we're going to do to edit this is go to the cog icon, go to the wrench tool, turn up time shift, just so that it doesn't sound so ahead of the drums. All right, we can copy that. Now let's say you want to make changes. Let's make this unique in the top left. My ear wants to hear G, so let's figure out what chord would go with G. It just sounds cool with the bass note G without changing the chord type. So that shows the change ups you guys can make without like compromising your sound. Really, you're done. R&B is all about the chords. Now what you can do is combine these. You can highlight this, hit Control G. And now you can add like notes that kind of lead into the next chords. So I'm going to turn these velocities down, it's called. The half step is just vicious. Gotta love this half step. So half steps create that soul sound in your music. So if you guys want more soul sound, try using these little half step changes. It sounds crazy. And we're gonna copy this over. Dun, 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 dun. Oops, gotta get the timing right. All right, so some more things you guys want to know in the piano roll. If you go to tools, where is it at? Humanize script. We could use this one to add more like human timing and playing styles. And then we could add the remove overlaps. You have to download this from the Image Line forums though. It doesn't come with the program. Grab your slice tool and just double check the endings here. Hit shift right click to get rid of the excess. Now you just got to come up with a bass line. So the bass line is pretty simple. I'll give you guys the MIDI for this, but in short, you're just going to play the tonic and the fifth. That's basically it. The fifth is 7 notes up from the tonic or the root note. Okay. So if I copy this, really, you could just copy your chords, paste it into the next instrument here and just use these bottom notes. That will save you a lot of time. And one thing about this bass style, I want it to be consistent. So let's hit Alt left click to make that velocity more linear. Let's pull this bass up 1 octave. So let's say we want like a note jump or something. We can either add an octave, which is the same note up, or we could add a fifth, which is 7 semitones away from the bottom note. So let's just count up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's how you add like little jumps in your bass, doo-doo, stuff like that. I'm gonna make this little area a little bit faster. And one thing I'm gonna do, this is like FL Studio plugins only, is double click a note, make this a slide note, so it slides from this note down to the next note. So it goes add a little delay to this bass, a little time shift. So at this point, you're gonna add your vocal top line. Now here's one thing you could do. Once you guys have all the music written, because we combine this all on one pattern, we could right click and transpose the pattern. So let's say you want to try out different keys. You can do negative values to lower the key, positive values raise the key. So let's go down one. I think this has a vibe. Now, one last technique is, because I transposed the key, I'm going to go down a key. But what we can do is add like octaves. So if my chord is playing this or this, I'm going to play the top, like basically when we split up the 7th chord. Let me just visually show you guys what this looks like. Remember, we took the top triad. What I'm going to do is take that triad and just take it up an octave. And just kind of do that to add accents throughout the track. So that's how you get to add that final little touch. me show you guys the final cheat code for this. What we are going to do is convert the MIDI to audio. Very important because we're going to do a technique here. Let's right click, consolidate track from track start. And we're going to cut remainder, 32-bit float, stereo, wave, 512 point sync. Just copy my settings, insert effects on if you have any effects. I don't want the master effects on, hit start. Now we have that MIDI as audio. For whatever reason though, in the FL Studio 2024, it adds this weird delay. I don't know if that's my plugins, but I'm pretty sure you guys may have that. So grab the slip tool and just move it to the left. And now what we're gonna do is double click. We're gonna switch this to stretch mode and then switch it back to resample. We're gonna do the same exact thing for our drums, switch it to resample mode after it's on time stretch mode. Just do this for each sample. If you have a lot of samples at this point, I'll show you guys a quicker way to do all this. But what we're going to do is hit stretch mode to lock in a time or a length for the actual audio. But if you guys want to do this, hit tools in the top bar, go to macro, and then go to switch all audio clips to stretch mode. And then once everything is in stretch mode, switch it back to resample. Because now what we're going to do is slow the BPM down or speed it up. So let's slow it down. It's one of my favorite techniques is to slow stuff down to really get in that unique soul pocket. So thank you guys for watching. We'll continue this R&B series, but if you guys want to take your level up, if you want to level up and take your music production skills to the next notch, go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials. That's how I can teach you like the minor chords, the seventh chords. So I can teach you all the cool stuff about chords, melodies, scales, modes, etc., etc. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials because I teach on the foundation of chord codes, and then everything else starts from Music Theory Essentials. And then from Music Theory Essentials, if you guys already have it, go to Music Theory Magic. That's the one you guys need to go to next to really master chords, you know, intervallic resolution, modal interchange, key modulation, all that type of stuff to get that R&B vibe, and chord voicing as well. So I want to thank you guys for watching. It's Game from busyworksbeats.com. Subscribe if you're new. Share with a friend. Peace.